What's up, nerds? Welcome to this special edition of Them Nerds, where we are going to talk to you about the upcoming Disney Plus series, Secret Invasion. I try to think. So, Secret Invasion, of course, based on a very famous storyline. We need to talk about some things. We need to talk about the cast, and we need to talk about how this is going to be at all similar to the comic books, given a bunch of things. So confirmed already, if you don't mind me going through this, Gerald.
Yeah.
Confirmed also already for the cast. We've got Samuel L. Jackson reprising his role as he has been for years, Nick Fury. And Ben Mendelsohn will be back as the Skrull Talos. These two are buddies, pals, apparently. We'll see. Cast has been Kingsley Ben-Adir, who is thought to be the villain of the show. Super Skrull, maybe? I don't know. Let's see. Olivia Colman, Emilia Clarke, and just announced recently in talks to join the show is the actor Killian Scott. I don't think this is enough cast to do what they need to do, if you ask me. So what we were just talking about this before we came live on the air. Why do you think that they're going to have a hard time connecting this to the comic version of it?
I would say it's because 95% of the characters and locations they have not introduced into the MCU. So it's very hard to be able to come up with. I mean, if anything, this should be called like interlude to Secret Invasion, like where they do these one-off comics that kind of lead into the idea of the movies so that we have an idea of what's going on. But don't get me wrong, I'm excited to see it. But you've built up after Captain Marvel this idea that the Skrull are good.
Right.
And I mean, they're just displaced because of, whatever militia or whatever. I have no idea why they're displaced.
Kree,
yeah, the Kree, but which wasn't really well explained either. And so now you have, this idea that they're going to be invading the world. And one of the main forces of Secret Invasion is the Illuminati play a big force in keeping the Kree Skrull out, or, the Skrulls out after the Kree war. And they are kidnapped and their likenesses are taken from them.
Right.
But a good 3 characters of the Illuminati have not been introduced, and the Illuminati has not been created.
I don't know how. Reed Richards hasn't been introduced. Professor X hasn't been introduced. Black Bolt was introduced in that horrible show that was on ABC, and I don't know if they're going to allow that to stand.
No, it would have to be redone.
Namor is not around. Was Black Panther in the Illuminati?
I think he's been in a version of it, yes.
So, I mean, that's going to be a tough one until they introduce a new Black
Iron Man's
Panther.
dead.
Iron Man's dead. The Illuminati is going to be a real tough sell in this one.
Basically, you have Doctor Strange.
Yes. The only thing I can think of here, and this is, this was a disappointing thing to me about Civil War, and I have a feeling it's going to be the same thing with this. They're using a name that's going to get people excited to do something completely different.
Yeah.
There's a big section of the Secret Invasion that has to do with the Fantastic Four. They're not here yet.
There's a big section that has to do with Spider-Woman. She has yet to be introduced. And do you really care if you're watching a brand new series? Yes, anybody who's the daily reader of comics, or the casual reader of comics, you know who Spider-Woman is.
Right.
If you're just a person who likes to watch these Disney Plus series, if they introduce her character on this TV series, do you care if she's been taken over by a Skrull or not? Or replaced by a Skrull? No, because you don't even know who she is.
Exactly. Yeah, and that's a weird first introduction for such a major character. Now, looking at the casting, we've talked a little bit about this. Emilia Clarke is a big get for the MCU. She's got to play somebody major, right?
Yeah, like she's definitely not a one and done hire. Like you're going to see her around. Actually, everybody you've seen in this cast so far are people that you can't really imagine that they're just for one series. They're going to be playing somebody pretty, powerful within this storyline. But Emilia Clarke, I would guess. I assumed that maybe she would be Spider-Woman. I would prefer her to be Sue Storm, but
Yeah.
I doubt that's going to happen.
Well, now listen here, youngster.
She's the person on the hill.
She's Mephisto. Jerry and I have been texting back and forth about this very thing since the casting was announced a little while back, and I said I think she's going to be Spider-Woman. Jerry said I'd rather her be Sue Storm, and I was like, this guy's crazy. She's Spider-Woman. When I saw a picture of Killian Scott, who I was not super familiar with until I read the casting news, the first thing I thought is that's going to be Reed Richards and Emilia Clarke is going to be Sue Storm.
That would be, I think that would be smart. I think that, this idea, we have to kind of get away with. I love the idea of fan casting. You know what I mean? Like, I think that, obviously this is part of the reason why we decided to start a channel, right. But it's a big enough FU to the millions of fans for years who have spent all their times using Photoshop to create, their versions of Sue Storm and Reed Richards. But yet, who's going to be pissed off about having Khaleesi as Sue Storm? There isn't going to be anybody.
No. I think, and I think maybe you're referring a little bit to the whole John Krasinski, Emily Blunt. People are like violently opposed to anybody becoming Mr. Fantastic and Invisible Woman other than them because of the great fan artwork.
Yeah.
But I mean, come on. There's other people out there in the world. I would be super stoked if she was Sue Storm.
I would be super stoked if those two were in any part of the MCU, but we can't just be so typecasted where we think to ourselves, these have to be the people.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. People are going to, think that they can get their way now because of things like the fan art of Dwayne Johnson as Black Adam.
Yeah. Well, like Shang-Chi, the guy who's playing Shang-Chi, like he was smart enough to actually tweet out, hey, I want this role, and it worked for him.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's not going to work that way every single time. So like, I can see John Krasinski playing Doom.
That'd be fine.
So he's in Fantastic Four. You wanted him there. I just, but it's just so much that we have to get through. To Secret Invasion's literally supposed to be out next year.
Right.
And we do not have anything to put this movie together. Or this TV show together. Don't get me wrong. I have full faith in Disney and Marvel. They've done an amazing job with all their franchises. I just cannot see the pieces that you put together that we actually get the story that we're supposed to get. It would be very, like you said, Civil War, where it's a glimpse of what, you got the registration, but in reality, it had nothing to do with it was basically superpowered people being registered and non-superpowered people being registered. It wasn't like this idea of, Captain America. Well, I guess Captain America and Iron Man were on either side of the teams, but it was a fraction of what the story could have been. And I see that the Secret Invasions, unless it's going to lead up to some other thing. I have no idea. I just don't see how we get the story that we got in the comics.
No,
it gets me so fired up.
So mad. Come at me, Feige.
You don't have Wolverine. I mean, you don't have. I mean, there's like so many people you need. Yeah,
I mean, I'm looking behind me here, and I've got
Wolverine. Magneto's over his shoulder. I mean, like it's like we have focused so much over the course of the last decade on just building up the Avengers. You haven't really built up a lot of these other characters. Right. So the only way that you can really do this stuff is by utilizing some characters that have already been made. Like this would be a perfect opportunity to say, we're not throwing the baby out with the bathwater. You have characters that people like from the Netflix shows. We're going to keep them along, and yet it's going to be a soft reboot. Maybe we don't mention everything that happened in. Elektra is a huge part of the Secret Invasions.
Yes. Yeah. And there's been no talk about her being back. There's been no talk about recasting. There's been no talk about anything Elektra related.
It's like, can you watch Secret Invasion Disney Plus and be super excited? And every week we just like jazzed that, every week we're like, oh, Dottie's somebody. And yeah, it's absolutely, that's a possibility. But it is not going to be the comic book.
No. This show is going to be good. It
I
starts
mean,
to do the same
I
thing.
would have much rather them name it something else. Like, we don't need, I get the comic books, but like, why not just like, you could have named it anything, Nick Fury and the Fabulous Seven. I don't give a shit what you call it. But, and then somewhere in the movie, they're like, another scroll pops up and someone says, this is a secret invasion. You gave me the title. You know what I mean? But you didn't name a whole series. I mean, every day I'm just waiting. When is that going to happen? It doesn't happen. I mean, this is like Christmas all over.
Yeah, like we like speculated and fan casted so much during WandaVision that it was like exhausting by the end of it that none of it happened.
Yeah.
The only thing that happened, and it was pretty obvious, was the whole Agnes being Agatha Harkness sort of thing.
Yeah, and you get people introduced in WandaVision, and guess what happens at the very end? We don't know where they're at.
Right.
It's like Falcon and the Winter Soldier. We get people introduced. We don't know where they're at.
Right.
I mean, we're expanding, but it's like the foster care system in the United States. We know there's people in it. We just can't locate where we house them. Like, that's how this is. Watch the Netflix show.
I think that, you mentioned the ending of WandaVision, the ending of Falcon and the Winter Soldier. There are characters that we were introduced to that we don't really know where they're at and what they're doing. They could use that as kind of their jumping off point for Secret Invasion. It would be pretty easy to have, one of the like Darcy is a Skrull, or turns out, Monica's going, with the Skrulls or whatever. But looking at the end of Falcon and the Winter Soldier, what if Ao went away with Zemo and we didn't get to see Zemo in the end, right? What if she was a Skrull?
We saw Zemo at the end.
Where did we see Zemo at the end? Oh yeah, he was on
the raft.
So what if
which plays a big role in Secret Invasion, which I'm guessing is the reason why we saw the raft again. Right. So I just think that maybe what the whole idea is, we need to get out of the idea of what Secret Invasion was, and instead we need to think of it as maybe they're introducing the actual invasion.
Right.
Leading into another Disney series or a Disney movie called Secret Wars.
Right. The first Civil War comic crossover event was one of my very favorite things ever in the comics. And so like I was hoping to get some semblance of that on the big screen, and of course I didn't, because they, like you said, they didn't have the pieces in place to be able to make it work.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what's going to happen with Secret Invasion. The difference in my mind is in Civil War, I went in with too high of expectations for some continuity with the comics and the whole storyline. This time I'm not. I know I'm not getting the comics here. I'm just going to go in and be like, what's going to happen? There's going to be some Skrulls. Show me some Skrulls.
Yeah, I think, Civil War, the whole point of Civil War, which none of us got at the time, was it was to fracture the Avengers so that when Thanos finally did come to Earth, they weren't a united team to be able to beat them. Had they still been the team they were supposed to, not half of them on Earth and half of them on a faraway moon, they could have beat him in the very beginning. And that's the reason why at Endgame, when they're all together and they're united, boom, look what happens. So that's the point of what Civil War was. I if I'm looking at it with, I just think there's so much you got to introduce before you get to this. So they better, buckle down and get it done. You know what I mean?
Feige.
Yeah. It's like, you need to have some mutants introduced. It just has to happen. You can't tell me that you have all these alien species that you're going to start now introducing. None of them have ever heard of a or a planet-eating organism called the Phoenix Force.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, there's real things out there that Captain Marvel should know about.
Definitely.
She's been flying around. She hasn't visited any of her friends in decades.
Right.
What have you learned? Other than, I guess they got supercuts everywhere.
She was all pissy about it too in Endgame. They're like, we can use your help. And she's like, there are other planets.
Yeah.
Whatever. Right. Anyway. I don't know. I have faith that it's going to be entertaining. It's just not. It's not going to be what we think it's going to be. If there's one one component from the comic books that is not yet introduced that you want to see introduced beforehand or at the beginning of this series to help lay the groundwork for what's going on, what is it?
Fox-owned properties.
Yeah.
I mean, really, Fantastic Four has to be introduced beforehand.
That's my pick.
I mean, as much as I need to see everything else, and you have to decide where are we going with the Netflix characters.
Yeah.
You know, that's what people should really be pissed off about, is the idea that you actually do like these 4 characters over there, and they've been toying with you for how long about this idea of like anything's possible. Well, yeah, you know what, dude, put your Tinkerbell boots on and go ahead and wave some fairy dust over here and just bring them on over here. You figured out how to make, you know, Val show up on the 5th episode. You can't figure out how to drop Daredevil in here too.
Right. Well, everybody's saying we're going to see Daredevil appear in Far From Home. Not Far From Home. Homecoming.
No Way Home.
No Way Home?
No Way Home. You just named off like 16 different titles that weren't it.
I don't know. It's, you know what? It's because they trolled us on social media. I can't remember. They're all floating around in my head. So we're supposed to get him in the next Spider-Man film. How about that? And one would assume that, you know, it would be just as easy to sort of inject the other characters back in.
I guess the one thing that we have to look forward to is the idea that the writer of Falcon and the Winter Soldier has said that the amounts of titles that we know about are a fraction of what is actually going to be coming out. So maybe we start getting some big, you know, title drops within the next 6 to 8 months. You know, I'm sure that it's hard for any company right now to really put down anything in cement because you don't know where we're going to be at.
Right. Yeah. There's still restrictions. There's still concerns about, you know, health things. So, yeah, I don't know. I would love to see. Is She-Hulk coming out before Secret Invasion?
Yes.
Okay. So that would be a great vehicle to introduce some of these characters. Hawkeye before Secret Invasion?
Hawkeye's before the end of the year.
So again, great way to bring in some extra characters. They have a lot of opportunities to introduce characters, even if it's in a small way. And the more characters they introduce, the more opportunities they have for this phenomenon that was really the basis of Secret Invasion, which was who's a Skrull.
Yeah.
And, you know, if they introduce, say they bring back like Luke Cage in Hawkeye, why not? He shows up, him and Danny Rand are running a shawarma stand. I don't know. They're doing Heroes for Hire, right? Bring them in, introduce them. We know who they are. They don't have to go into a whole backstory thing. And then when Secret Invasion comes about, it all of a sudden, you know, Luke Cage and Iron Fist are off fighting crime, and Iron Fist is like, "Nah, I'm a Skrull," and he pulls off his mask and he's like, "Nah," with his ears.
That's the whole fun of Secret Invasions,
right?
Is the idea that you're fighting along a friend you've had for years, and then all of a sudden, like, you know, they stab you, and you're like, "Oh, why?" And then
I'm a Skrull.
They don't wear masks; they just turn.
Whatever.
They're not. It's not Scooby Doo.
This is more dramatic. It was me all along. I would have gotten away with it too if it wasn't for you meddling Avengers.
Although I do think in Hawkeye, the character you're going to get back is Kingpin.
Good.
Yeah,
I hope so.
That would be my guess.
Vincent D'Onofrio's Kingpin might be my very favorite character that Marvel has ever put on screen.
Yeah.
So good. That dude is weird as crap. That's probably why.
Yeah. And he's one of those kind of actors who like loves a role so much, and then just one day he's like, I'm done with it. But like right now he's like really into it. So just give him the role. So but we need more of those kind of actors. That's what I'm saying. And we need them in this movie because you don't have enough people.
Bring them in. Bring them in. Yeah, we want that, like, that always questioning, you know, sudden reveal kind of dynamic. That's really what Secret Invasion in the comic books was. Like, I can't wait to get the next issue because I can't wait to see who the next person who's going to be revealed as a Skrull is. And if you've only got like a handful of heroes, who cares? I mean, there's gonna be like, what, one Skrull? Like,
yeah, because you're not going to be surprised if Nick Fury is a Skrull. He's already been one. Right.
Yeah. If you're only giving me 5 characters, you know, Smart Money says at least 2 of them are going to be Skrulls. I'm not going to, I mean, I like the idea of introducing as many characters as possible, and then you've got a bunch of these like, oh no, it's a scroll. I've been a scroll all along.
I also think that Disney and Marvel both need to really focus on the idea that this whole movie or franchise got built off of Shield, and yet we don't see any recurring Shield members. Like, you see Nick Fury every once in a while pop up. Where's Maria Hill?
Right. We need more Maria Hill. I think they need to bring back Mockingbird.
Yeah. Drop in some agents of Shield, people that people actually liked.
Where's Deathlock?
That was not a character I thought that was good. I know you are still devoted to it, but
I love the character. The actor maybe wasn't, the greatest thing on earth, but he was. I mean, Quake. Where's Quake?
Yeah,
she's a Powerpuff Girl.
Yeah,
that should be a war crime.
Yeah, no, that she messed that up. She is not coming back to this franchise after that crap show. But that's my ideas. That I just think that there's not enough people. So
yeah. And I think our this, of course, is a long way out. And you guys are, if you're watching this show in 2022, right before Secret Invasion comes out, and you've just watched another video where the two of us are talking excitedly about how we can't wait for Secret Invasion, please know that in 2021, when we're making this, we can't wait for Secret Invasion.
Yeah.
But we just
know that we all just survived a pandemic. We can say whatever we want.
The thing is, we just are concerned about how they're going to do it. I think it's a fair concern.
Yeah.
What do you guys think about Secret Invasion? Is it going to be everything that it's cracked up to be? Is Marvel going to deliver? Who needs to be there? How are they going to make up for not having the Illuminati? What's your favorite topping on your pizza? I'm really hungry right now, by the way. Pizza sounds awesome. Jerry feels me on this one. Death stare. You did not just talk about pizza. Anyway, like, comment, check out all of our other videos at youtube.com/themnerds on YouTube. Don't forget to follow us on social media at WeThemNerds on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, especially Instagram. My boy Jerry, he's the Instagram man, and he puts all kinds of cool stuff on there all the time. It's good stuff. And we'll see you next time. Be good. Be good to each other.
Stay nerdy.
Later, nerds.